booster ignition, and liftoff of Discovery, celebrating its 25th birthday by racking up science and supplies to the space station.
Muy bien, gente. Muy bien, gente. Entramos en el inicio de la transmisión del lanzamiento de la misión Ariane 5, la misión Eutelsat.
Welcome to Road to Space. As you know, the flight VA258 was supposed to lift off yesterday, but due to the weather, it has been postponed until tonight. So here we are.
Here we are.
Hello, Emma.
Hello, Baptiste.
And in less than 15 minutes, Ariane 5 will be taking off from Europe Spaceport with very special passengers.
Yes, Eutelsat Konnect VHTS is the satellite of all superlatives. Built by Thales Alenia Space, it is the largest but also the most technologically advanced satellite ever to be built in Europe by the global satellite operator Eutelsat. This satellite is a major advancement in connectivity for Europe and one which will help reduce the white zone.
What a program. But before anything else, let's head over to Stéphane Israel, who is waiting for us in the flight cell. Hello, Stéphane. Welcome to Road to Space.
Con una tasa de instantánea de 500 gigabits por segundo, el Eutelsat Konnect
Stéphane, today's mission will be for a
VHTS
passenger you are really familiar with, the operator Eutelsat. Can you tell us more about this passenger and your friendship?
Órbita geoestacionario.
Yes, so tonight we are going to orbit Connect VHTS, and
ofreciendo servicio comparable a las redes de fibra óptica en términos de rendimiento. Que dice de que abordará las necesidades de banda ancha a la red de telecomunicación. Dice que fue construido por Francia por Arianespace alrededor de la plataforma de propulsión que utiliza propulsión eléctrica. Bueno, ya todos los satélites ya utiliza propulsión ionizante.
And, let me know, Stéphane, is everything okay for tonight?
Dice que será el satélite número 37 lanzado por Arianespace, satélite de Eutelsat. Dice que será el número 166 de Thales Alenia lanzado por bueno, un satélite construido por Thales Alenia Space lanzado por Arianespace. Que dice que Eutelsat son de los satélites con un alto rendimiento más grande construidos. Que dice que al parecer pesa 6.4 toneladas métricas.
Well, thank you very much, Stéphane. Good luck with everything. And of course, we'll be following closely these events all the night.
Será puesto en una órbita de transferencia geoestacionaria.
Arianespace. Good evening, Vincent.
Good evening.
Good evening.
You are, of course, our leading space expert tonight and will be helping us to understand the key phases of the flight. So I would just like to ask you if you could talk to us a bit about these key stages, because we're going to be having some images which are just about to come up on our screen any second now.
Yes, so tonight, the Ariane 5 will lift off from the French Guiana. The French Guayana Space Center is the northeastern coast of South America at H0. The Vulcan engine of the main stage will ignite, and once we have checked that the engine is working correctly, the solid boosters are ignited at H0 plus 7 seconds. At that time, Ariane 5 lifts off. The launcher will climb vertically and then perform a gravity turn, progressively tilting the trajectory. After 2 minutes and 21 seconds, the booster will have burned all the propellant and they will separate from the
Después de
launcher.
2,21 segundos se separan los propulsores y después las
At this
cófiras.
altitude, there is no more
A términos
atmosphere, there no need to
31
maintain
la
the fairing
circulación de
on
las
the launcher to
cófiras.
protect the spacecraft.
Ahí
You
nos
can see on the
enseñan
video
el único
the tower
satélite que
with
se enviará en esta
yellow
misión.
dots, which represent the different tracking stations that will receive the flight data from the launcher along its trajectory. At 8 minutes and 36
Después,
seconds, the main stage will have finished its job. The engine will
A
shut
los
down and it will
8,22
separate
segundos se
from the
hará la
upper stage.
separación
A few
antes
seconds
el
later,
apagado del
the
motor
engine of the
principal
upper stage will ignite
y la
and
separación
will
de la
burn
segunda
for
etapa.
more than 16 minutes, shutting down once the targeted orbit is reached. To be noted that tonight, the injection orbit has a
Después se
very high
enciende
apogee,
el segundo
60,000
motor y después,
kilometers.
aparte de los
The injection on the targeted orbit will occur at 24 minutes and 55 seconds. After
al
that,
parecer hasta
the
los
upper stage
24
will
minutos
perform
se hará el
orientation
apagado del
maneuvers
motor
in order to give the spacecraft the correct orientation, and the spacecraft will be separated less than 29 minutes after
y
liftoff.
termina con la misión de separar
Once
desplegado
the
del
spacecraft
satélite.
is on its way and far enough, the launcher will begin its end-of-life maneuver and passivation, completely emptying its tank and reducing its lifetime in orbit.
Well, thank you very much, Vincent, for all this information, and we'll be following all those key points tonight together. You said 60,000 kilometers, so that's an information we'll go back later. But for this moment, let's stay focused on the countdown that is about to start. We can see we have all the lights green on the panel, but yesterday there was a red. Can you tell us what happened?
Yes, so the status panel you can see on the screen provide the status of all different means and systems involved in the tonight mission and that contribute to the launch. This is managed by the CNES as a state authority and enables us to ensure the security of the launcher, the security of our customer and its spacecraft, the security of the installation, and of course of the teams. All the lights need to be green for the liftoff to take place, and if an issue shows up anywhere one of these lights turn red, we may stop the countdown to identify the problem, of course, to solve it, and then come back for the launch. So yesterday, high altitude winds over the launch site exceeded the limits that are part of the safety conditions for every Ariane 5 mission. High altitude winds can cause debris from the launcher to fall on populated areas. That's why the CSG, as sovereign safety authority, was unable to authorize the launch yesterday night, leading to the postponement decision.
Okay.
Thank you, Vincent. Well, at any moment now, the DDO, Director of the Operations in Kourou, should be announcing tonight's synchronized sequence. Of course, all the teams in Kourou are waiting for this moment with bated breath, and so are we.
Yeah, and so what I understand, it was a question of safety yesterday. So
Por el momento todavía va segundo.
Now let's focus on the images we have, and let's see. Can you comment what we see? That's the fishbowl.
Yes, so here we are in the flight control center, so the Jupiter room. So you have all the teams and responsible involved for this flight tonight. We can see in the middle of this room the range operation director, so the DDO in French.
That will be hearing within a second normally.
Yeah.
À tous de DDO, attention pour le début de la séquence finale lanceur. Top, à 0-7 minutes.
So this is what we were
Estamos a 7 minutos y al parecer todo va segundo
just announced that we have entered the synchronized sequence. So from now the launcher is in its final automatic mode.
Thank you, Vincent. We will be having and keeping a close eye on that green panel for the next 7 minutes, that's for sure.
In the meantime, because we have some time, I would like to turn your attention on the exceptional passenger on board we have tonight.
Certainly is.
Yeah, Eutelsat Konnect VHTS. It's the 37th Eutelsat satellite to be launched by Arianespace. Let's take a look at this short report in which we will know everything about it.
Dazzling, tremendous, and incredibly powerful, tonight Ariane 5 takes off with a very special passenger, Eutelsat Konnect VHTS. Approximately 9 meters high, weighing 6.4 tons, it simply is the largest satellite ever built by Thales Arianespace. It will be operated by one of the leading operators in the commercial satellite business, Eutelsat.
Eutelsat Konnect VHTS est doté d'une capacité de 500 gigabits sur les 2 voies aller-retour, ce qui en fait le satellite le plus puissant de toute la flotte d'Eutelsat. Pour le concevoir, il a fallu imaginer ce que serait un satellite de nouvelle génération, capable de servir les besoins broadband et surtout le plus efficace d'un point de vue coût de production.
Our passenger has a key mission to bring high-speed broadband across Europe, thus bridging the digital divide. To watch a movie or to communicate, to study or to work, our daily lives now depend on connectivity. Eutelsat Konnect VHTS will be able to help over 500,000 households living in remote areas without access to the internet.
Avec Eutelsat Konnect VHTS, Thales Arianespace est aux côtés de la France et l'Europe dans leur ambition de déploiement de la connectivité très haut débit sur l'ensemble du territoire. Nous sommes très fiers de fournir à Eutelsat, notre partenaire de longue date, un satellite au meilleur niveau de la technologie mondiale.
Eutelsat Konnect VHTS, based on a SpaceBus Neo platform, is a next-generation, very high-throughput satellite. It will support the development of the operator's fixed broadband and in-flight connectivity businesses.
Hasta 20 a la órbita baja terrestre. Como dice, de que puede llevar hasta 2 satélites a la órbita geoestacionaria. Su diámetro es de 5.4 metros y puede alcanzar los 780 toneladas y es de 50.5 metros de altura.
Eutelsat and Thales Alenia-Space. Eutelsat Konnect VHTS is a record-breaking satellite.
Rien de tout cela n'aurait été possible sans une augmentation significative de nos investissements en R&D, ainsi que le soutien institutionnel continu du CNES, de l'Agence spatiale européenne et le recours au programme d'investissement d'avenir. Eutelsat Konnect VHTS est emblématique de notre vision Space for Life et permet d'offrir aux citoyens européens une connectivité haut débit, hors pair.
Now under the fairing of Arianespace's launcher, this satellite is about to take the most incredible ride ever, a flight on board Ariane 5. Destination, geoestationary
nos acaba de decir de que la Ariane 5 lo pondrá en una órbita de transferencia geoestacionaria.
Well, this satellite is practically 9 meters high, we learned, and weighs 6.4 tons. It's what you call an XXL satellite. Not easy to maneuver, I imagine. Comment on the images that are coming up on our screen of the launch campaign.
Yes, so the launcher campaign started with the arrival of the launcher cryogenic stages and elements at the Guayana Space Center. The launcher operation started at the end of July with the installation of the main cryogenic stage inside the launcher integration building. Then the 2 boosters were transferred and integrated to the main cryogenic stage, and finally the upper stage was safely hoisted and integrated on top of the main stage. Once completed, the launcher was transferred to the final assembly building. The transfer of the impressive spacecraft payload from Thales to Thales in France happened at night. The traffic was blocked as the convoy progressed. The complete spacecraft was then transferred to French Guiana by boat and arrived in Kourou at the beginning of August after a 2-week trip. The spacecraft container was transferred to the preparation facilities in the Space Center where it was unloaded in the clean room facilities. Some inspection checks and health tests were run. After completion of this verification, the spacecraft was transferred in specific hazardous clean room where it was fueled. After completion of this fueling, the combined operation started with the mating of the spacecraft on its fly adapter. The spacecraft was then loaded in a specific container and transferred to the final assembly building where the preparation of Ariane 5 was close to completion. As you can see on the video, Konnect VHTS was then hosted up to the upper platforms and safely integrated on top of the launcher. Then the fairing was installed on top of the launcher, an operation that requires particular attention and control. And after completion of this installation, the logo of our tonight customer was put on the fairing. And finally, yesterday, the launcher was transferred to the launch pad, where it is now ready for liftoff.
Yeah. all this work, Vincent, to end. Now, the DDO is about to announce that we are only 1 minute away from liftoff.
DDO, attention pour moins 1 minute.
So now we don't comment and we watch the show.
Top,
Estamos a 1 minuto para el lanzamiento. $50 segundos. Muy bien, vamos. Estamos a 33 segundos para el lanzamiento. Acuérdense, lo primero que se hace es la separación de las puentes de acceso del vehículo. Después de eso, a los 0 segundos con más 6 segundos se enciende el motor principal. Después de eso ya se encienden los dos propulsores y despega. Muy bien, vamos. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Se enciende el motor Vulcan.
Allumage Vulcan.
Muy bien, tenemos lanzamiento.
Allumage des EAP. Et décollage.
Se ha lanzado.
La trayectoire est nominale.
Muy bien, dice que la trayectoria está nominal. Todo está correcto.
La propulsión est
En
nominale.
estos momentos pasará por el punto de máxima presión aerodinámica.
Well, Ariane 5 has just disappeared
Bien,
up
ya
into
pasó la
space.
parte
I
de
mean, that was
máxima presión
incredible.
aerodinámica, donde el único que bajará la potencia será el
Clear
motor Vulcan
skies, the sounds of
de la
cameras
etapa
clicking.
central.
And we still have an incredible
Image.
That's really a bright night.
So, Vincent, can you tell
Le
us
pilotage
now?
est calme.
We're intrigued to know it's disappearing up into space, but what are the next important stages of its journey?
Yes, for the time being, the launcher is still in its initial conditions, that is to say, still in one piece, I would say. But in 1 minute, approximately, the two solid boosters will separate from the main stage that will occur at precisely at 2 minutes and 20 seconds. Then, 1 minute later, the fairing will be jettisoned.
La trajectoire est
No more
nominale.
Muy bien, nos está diciendo que ya después de la separación de los propulsores se hará la separación de las copias. 2 minutos y ya solo faltan unos segundos para la separación de los propulsores de combustible sólido.
Upper cryogenic stage will be then ignited and will take the reins during more than 16 minutes in order to reach the targeted orbit.
La propulsion est nominale, le pilotage est calme.
And we have the image of the booster.
We still have it.
That's incredible.
Séparation des EAP.
Muy bien, nos acaban de decir separación confirmada de los propulsores de combustible sólido.
So, Vincent, what I would like to ask you is, without these two boosters, the launcher is obviously now lighter than it was at takeoff. Can you tell us more about its weight now? Why does it need these boosters anymore?
Yes, so the launcher is liberated from any dead weight in order to maximize the capabilities of the different stages. So that's why, as soon as the solid propellant located inside the booster has been fully consumed, the two boosters are separated.
Muy bien,
so after this separation, the mass of the launcher is only 170 tons, to be compared to 770 tons at liftoff time.
We still have an incredible image. That's incredible. And now we're waiting for the next stage.
Yes.
Muy bien, se hizo la separación de las copias.
Yes, we got confirmation that as you can see on the video, that the fairing has been successfully jettisoned. So here we can see the spacecraft. Yeah.
Well, thank you, Vincent. We have 5 minutes before our next milestone.
La propulsion est nominale.
So let's talk about Ariane 5's mission. We will come back to the different stages of this flight in a few moments, but before that, I would really like to talk about the specific geostationary orbit that we mentioned at the beginning of this program and towards which Ariane 5 is obviously now heading. First of all, what are the main orbits operated by Arianespace?
Well, for observation and meteosat that need to pass over an Earth region at the same local time every day, we use SSO orbit, so a sun-synchronous orbit. For the International Space Station and also particular satellite constellations that need to be relatively close to the Earth's surface, we use low Earth orbit, for which the proximity to Earth is very useful, I would say. The telecomsat, as a Konnect VHTS, need to stay constantly above one particular place over Earth. So they have to be placed on a geostationary orbit. Ariane 5 can inject such telecom orbit, satellite, on a geo-transfer orbit called GTO. So the satellites are not directly placed on their final orbit. They need to use their own energy. They can move to their final geostationary orbit.
Okay, and you explained me before that it's a specific flight tonight because the orbit targeted is special.
Yes, tonight Ariane 5 will inject the Konnect VHTS spacecraft on a GTO orbit with an apogee at 60,000 kilometers, which is a little bit unusual. So the strategy to consider such an injection with a very high apogee comes from a request from our customer and is made possible by the performance capabilities Ariane 5 can offer for this single launch mission. So we have customized the injection orbit in order to satisfy as best as possible the request and demand from our customer.
Okay, I'm sorry to insist. Why is it a special demand, I guess?
In fact, such GTO injection enables our customer to reduce the quantity of propellant needed for the spacecraft to reach the final geo-orbit. Such injection is a more energetic orbit, enables to reduce the propulsive cost for the spacecraft to reach the final operational orbit. The consequence is that the spacecraft will consume less propellant and its operational lifetime will be then extended.
Yeah.
So what kind of satellites is this particular orbit suited to?
Such orbit is very interesting, typically for electrical satellite as Konnect VHTS. It enables the spacecraft operation engineer to optimize the post-launch sequence from the spacecraft separation from the launcher up to the time when the spacecraft is positioned in its final orbit.
Okay. Let's go back to live, tonight's mission. Can you tell us about Ariane 5's present status?
Yes, so we are getting near the end of the main stage flight, so the flight sequence is running perfectly as expected. Yes. The cutoff of the main stage engine will occur in 1 minute and a half, approximately at 8 minutes and 36 seconds. And the launcher is still tracked by the Galileo ground station near Kourou. It will be seen very soon by Natal. So we got the confirmation that the launcher is now seen by the Natal ground station.
Okay.
Okay, well, I'd just like to say, going back into the Jupiter, we are with these very important VIPs today, Eva Bernecker, Dominique Dinin, Ross McInnes, and Hervé Daré. A bit of information here. Eva took the helm of Eutelsat at the beginning of the year as Chief Executive Officer. Dominique heads the telecom. They're not just here on the screen yet, but but we'll see them
outside the Jupiter room.
But
watching,
we'll see them later.
Definitely.
There's Dominique, who heads the Telecom Operators Board of Directors, of which Ross is a member. Hervé heads Thales Alenia-Space, and it's his teams who designed and built the satellite launch tonight, Eutelsat Konnect VHTS.
And we'll have the pleasure to interview, to interview later on Road to Space. Let's go back to the flight, tonight's flight. We are not waiting for another announcement really important by the DDO, and it's about the main core.
Yes, so there will be a successive announcement by the DDO. So there will be the extension of the main stage, then its separation, and after the beginning of the upper stage flight.
Séparation de l'EPC.
L'étape supérieure acaba de avanzar.
The engine is
Según al parecer, debería de hacer una maniobra.
Well separated, yes.
Well separated, and we can see on those images
yes, and the upper
behind
stage
us.
Is now ignited. Yeah.
Okay.
En estos momentos está a una altura de 221 kilómetros.
Yes, so everything is running as expected.
Ya alcanzó los 6.90 kilómetros por hora.
In few seconds, we will lose the visibility of the launcher from the Galileo ground station.
Okay. And all of this.
Muy bien, en estos momentos deberían de seguir así hasta que lleguen hasta los temas 25 minutos.
We're just waiting, yeah.
Exactly, for the Galileo tracking station to lose it. It's obviously operated by CNES in Kourou. It is the first telemetry station located on Ariane 5's trajectory, which is obviously eastward launched. In the last 2 minutes, it is the natal tracking station in Brazil, which has taken over and is now in contact with the launcher.
Okay, so we're still waiting for the next announcement. For those who are joining us, you will have a replay. Stay with us. Can you just give us a sum up of what happened and what will occur?
Yes, so
muy bien,
the
deberías
main
de pasar por
stage
alumnados
was separated 1 minute
cuando pase
ago,
toda África, al parecer será
so this main stage is falling back to Earth, so in the Atlantic Ocean. And now the upper stage, yes, has taken the reins of the flight, and the Ariane 5 mission continues.
At this stage of the mission, Ariane 5 no longer looks anything like the launcher that took off at 6:45 local time. How many kilos did it lose exactly?
Well, the launcher has been lightened by the mass of the empty main stage, and its weight now is only a little bit more than 25 tons, to be compared to 717 tons at the liftoff time.
Okay, thank you very much for all those informations. As Ariane 5 continues its trajectory, let's take another look at this unique satellite on board, the Eutelsat Konnect VHTS. It was a challenge to build for Thales Alenia Space. We'll learn more about its construction. It's our next lineup, Because Science.
Le satellite Konnect VHTS se caractérise par sa taille, sa puissance et son efficacité.
Konnect VHTS est surtout un défi, est un satellite très puissant et qui nous offre beaucoup de flexibilité.
Bertrand and Tony are engineers for the operator Eutelsat. For the past 4 years, they've been working on the latest satellite of the fleet, Eutelsat Konnect VHTS. On the occasion of this launch, they granted us an interview to share with us the secrets of this unusual satellite.
Le but, c'est vraiment d'essayer de réduire cette fracture numérique dans une partie de l'Europe, le nord d'Afrique ainsi que le Proche-Orient, ainsi que de fournir des services de connectivité pour les avions et pour les maritimes. C'est un satellite superlatif, c'est le satellite le plus gros, le plus massif, le plus puissant qui n'a jamais été construit en Europe.
Il fonctionne de façon classique comme les autres satellites géostationnaires de télécommunications.
Basiquement, ce qu'on veut, c'est d'établir un service d'Internet entre un fournisseur d'Internet et un utilisateur. Et au lieu d'utiliser un câble de fibre optique ou un lien ADSL, on va utiliser un satellite. C'est un peu différent que les autres satellites classiques qu'on a, qui fournissaient la télévision. C'était des satellites qui avaient des faisceaux assez larges. Maintenant, dans un satellite HTS, on a des faisceaux assez étroits.
Grâce aux antennes de 3,50 m.
Ce qui va nous permettre de réutiliser la fréquence autant qu'on peut, ce qui va booster la capacité. C'est un satellite avec une telle capacité qui le fait très attirant pour le déployer pour un service de type broadband.
Il a deux particularités, c'est qu'il utilise un système de propulsion électrique, utilisant des propulseurs plasmiques, qui permet d'optimiser la consommation de carburant pour le transfert depuis l'orbite d'injection jusqu'à l'orbite géostationnaire et aussi pour les manœuvres à poste. Et après, il y a une deuxième innovation, c'est le sous-système de contrôle thermique qui utilise ce qu'on appelle une boucle fluide qui permet de mieux répartir les calories dissipées par les équipements de la charge utile.
Pour nous, du point de vue commercial, c'est la première fois qu'on embarque un digital processor ou un processeur numérique. C'est le plus grand, le plus puissant jamais mis en orbite. Et ça va nous permettre de gérer flexiblement la capacité, de la louer là-bas où il y en a besoin.
For these two engineers who are passionate about technology and innovation, working on this satellite has been an incredibly special experience.
C'est un sentiment de fierté d'avoir participé à cette aventure.
Je reprends d'abord ton dernier mot, la fierté. Du point de vue technique, c'est un défi. C'est un défi de travailler pour un satellite complexe comme Konnect VHTS avec un DTP. C'est pour la première fois qu'on a ce type d'équipement dans l'un de nos satellites.
C'est toujours excitant de travailler pendant 4 ans sur un satellite qui est l'un des plus puissants, les plus gros jamais construits en Europe.
So during our report, we saw the acquisition of Ascension Tracking Station, which is the third telemetry station on Ariane 5's trajectory, located, guys, as its name suggests, on Ascension Island in the Atlantic Ocean. Did you know that?
Yeah. On board Ariane 5 tonight, we have a highly innovative satellite. I talked to you before, the Eutelsat Konnect VHTS. So VHTS means very high throughput satellite. Vincent, the previous launch of the Konnect satellite was in 2020. It was in January the 16th, but it was a lighter one.
Yes, the first Konnect spacecraft was launched as well by Ariane 5. It was a lighter spacecraft, about 3.6 tons, based as well on a Spacebus Neo platform from Thales Alenia Space. It was the first flight model, and successfully launched in dual launch configuration to a standard GTO orbit.
Okay.
Can you tell us about this very strong relationship bond there is between Arianespace, Eutelsat, and Thales Alenia Space?
Yes, so Arianespace and Eutelsat have built a very strong relationship since 1983. A very long and mutual confidence, as demonstrated by the two-night launch. Konnect VHTS is a 37th Eutelsat spacecraft launched by Arianespace.
Well, yeah, so that's a long-term friendship, we could say. We've been talking about the past, but now let's talk about the future. Let's talk about Ariane 6, the new European launcher.
Because, of course, we are getting closer and closer to the maiden flight. Teams from ECA, CNES, Ariane Group have been very busy over this summer, reaching important milestones in the preparation of Ariane 6. Well, in the following report, we have all the latest updates, and we'll be showing you some exclusive images.
Exciting times for the European space industry have begun. The objective of these tests is to verify and validate the compatibility between Ariane 6 and its dedicated launch pad at Europe's spaceport in French Guiana. It's an essential dress rehearsal to prepare and train the teams before the rocket's inaugural flight. An industrial and human adventure with thousands of people spread across many European companies and institutions working together. The Ariane 6 program is managed and funded by the European Space Agency ESA, with Ariane Group being responsible for the design and development of the launcher itself. The French space agency CNES took responsibility for the construction of the new Ariane 6 launch base at Europe's spaceport, and Arianespace will be the launch service provider for Ariane 6. With the combined test of milestones have been achieved over the course of the summer. In the new launcher assembly building, teams from Ariane Group, CNES and ESA completed an important step of the process, the horizontal mechanical and electrical assembly of Ariane 6's central core. A few weeks later, the rendezvous. For the first time since its conception, Ariane 6 was able to meet its launch pad. The doors of the launcher assembly building opened to let Ariane 6's central core through. It took about 20 minutes at 3 kilometers per hour for the launcher to cover the 800 meters separating the assembly building from the launch pad. The rocket was then lifted from its horizontal assembly position to its vertical position. Ariane 6 is the first launcher in the Ariane series to be assembled horizontally. It makes it easier for the technicians and helps save time and money on every launch. Another element contributing to the competitiveness of Ariane 6 is its P120C solid rocket boosters. The P120C solid propeller component means cost savings for both rockets. The P120C demonstrated its performance on the 13th of July with the successful inaugural flight of Vega C. But it's not only in French Guiana that testing of Ariane 6 continues. In the purpose-built test facility in Lampolshausen, Germany, crucial firing tests of the upper stage engine will soon begin. Then the upper stage will undergo further testing at ESA's ESTEC Technology Centre in the Netherlands. Now only a few steps remain before the teams at Europe's spaceport can switch from the test models they're using for the combined tests to the flight hardware that will be used for the inaugural flight of Ariane 6. A first which will be followed by many launches, continuing Europe's heritage of independent access to space.
Well, it's always very impressive to see the big beast moving on the launch pad.
The beautiful beast, Baptiste.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, let's get back to our mission. During our report, the Libreville tracking station located in Gabon has recovered the signal from Ariane 5.
La propulsion est nominale, le pilotage est calme, la trajectoire est nominale.
So we hear the DDO, everything is perfect. So in about 10 minutes, Eutelsat Konnect VHTS will be separated. Mm-hmm. This unique satellite was designed by the Thales Arianespace team in Toulouse, in the south of France. And in our next report, we'll hear about the work of the satellite operation architect and the program manager. This is what we call our space work.
My favorite.
Je m'appelle Guayana, j'ai 33 ans, je travaille comme ingénieur opération satellite à Thales Arianespace.
Je m'appelle Stéphane, j'ai 48 ans, je suis maintenant chef de projet chez Thales Arianespace et je suis ici depuis une vingtaine d'années.
Je travaille en tant qu'ingénieur opération. Ces opérations consistent à tester les équipements, à réaliser des poussées sur orbite pour corriger en fait l'orbite, jusqu'à ce qu'on arrive sur l'orbite finale, l'orbite dans laquelle le satellite va vraiment réaliser sa mission.
Je dirais qu'un chef de projet, c'est un peu comme un capitaine d'équipe de sport, foot ou autre. Hein. Et son rôle, globalement, c'est rassembler des équipes, faire travailler des gens ensemble, de différents niveaux, de différents métiers, leur donner les lignes directives pour les étapes à franchir, les challenges qui sont devant nous. Gagner le match, c'est quoi? C'est livrer un satellite avec les performances et le niveau de qualité requis, dans les temps et dans le budget qui m'est alloué. Et voilà, c'est un chef d'équipe, quoi.
C'était mon rêve d'enfant. J'ai toujours voulu travailler dans le spatial, depuis que je suis au collège à peu près. Je pense que c'est en 4e que j'ai eu le déclic. Je voulais même faire astronome. Et après, donc mes parents m'ont plutôt incité à me diriger vers des études d'ingénieur. Et par contre, clairement, c'était ingénieur non spatial ou rien. C'était vraiment ça ma vocation. Le mieux, effectivement, c'est de faire une école d'ingénieur. Du moment qu'on est motivé, on y arrive.
Majoritairement, c'est quand même des ingénieurs qui travaillent dans ces métiers-là, mais pas que. Hein. Il y a quand même effectivement de la communication, il y a de la finance et de la gestion de projet. Ce qui m'a beaucoup plu là, dans ce projet, c'est voir à quel point on arrive à motiver une équipe pour réaliser un objet, on va dire, un peu hors norme, hein, et voir à quel point l'équipe s'est prise au jeu.
Il y a tellement de nouveautés dues au fait que c'est le plus gros satellite qu'on ait jamais fait, qu'il a fallu trouver des solutions inédites à certaines problématiques qui sont posées, et ça a motivé les équipes.
Pendant toute la phase d'assemblage du satellite, on l'assemble petit à petit, les petits morceaux par petits morceaux, donc il grandit petit à petit, donc c'est comme les enfants, on les voit pas trop grandir en fait. Et puis on a un test un peu particulier où on teste le satellite dans une configuration qui est proche de celle qui l'aura en vol. Et pour le faire, on le suspend à plusieurs mètres de hauteur. Et la première fois que vous rentrez là, et que vous levez les yeux et que vous voyez un vaisseau spatial de 9 mètres de long au-dessus de vous, là vous dites waouh, c'est énorme.
Ça fait depuis l'Antiquité que les hommes regardent le ciel, ça ne va pas s'arrêter demain. Il y a encore des très grands projets qui s'organisent, aller sur la Lune. Il y a encore de très très grands challenges à réaliser dans le spatial. Je pense vraiment que l'homme est un explorateur et donc ça ne va pas s'arrêter là.
So for all you students watching with us tonight, if you have the heart of an explorer, opt for a career in the space industry because this is where the future lies.
Yeah, it's definitely the future.
Vincent, during the report, we had the confirmation, I think, of the signal acquisition in Malindi.
Yes, so we got confirmation that the launcher is now seen by the Malindi ground station, a ground station located in Kenya, so near the equator, in the east of Africa. And this is from this ground station that the spacecraft separation from the launcher will be seen.
Yes, and we are now only 5 minutes away from the separation of the Eutelsat Konnect VHTS satellite. So what will happen between now and then? What are the steps? What are the next steps?
In 1 minute and a half, the engine of the upper stage will be cut off. The launcher will be then injected on the spacecraft separation orbit.
Extinction de l'ESC.
It will enter a ballistic and orientation phase, the aim of which is to prepare the launcher and the spacecraft for the final separation. The spacecraft operation engineers will progressively take control of the satellite, and after different health tests and verification, they will initiate successive maneuvers in order for the spacecraft to reach its final orbit. So once arrived on the geo-orbit, the operational life of the spacecraft
Début de la manœuvre d'orientation.
Could then start for a 15 years lifetime.
Okay, so we heard the DDO just announced the start of the orientation maneuver. Can you explain what this means exactly and how do they manage?
Yes, so after injection on the separation orbit, and before the separation of the spacecraft, the launcher is slowly oriented according to the spacecraft needs. An important tilting is done between 150 degrees and 160 degrees, smoothly, with a low rate of 0.8 degrees per second. The duration of this orientation phase is about 4 minutes. These orientation maneuvers are ensured by the attitude control system of the Ariane 5 upper stage. Once the launcher is oriented in the correct orientation, the spacecraft separation is ordered by the upper stage. The clamp band that maintains and secures the spacecraft on top of the launcher is released and opened by a specific pyro activation device, and then the spacecraft is smoothly separated by a relaxation of specific springs.
So Vincent, can you tell us how the Arianespace team operates this maneuver?
So this is the work of a whole team. So the different steps of the mission are studied in a very early phase in the frame of the mission analysis and the launch preparation. Usually there are 2 loops in this launch preparation, so a preliminary one and a final one. On the basis of the spacecraft inputs we receive from our customers, the Arianespace and Ariane Group teams work together and perform different studies and simulations that include the trajectory, of course, the ballistic phase, the relative optimization, the payload separation, and the non-collision verification. The trajectory is finally optimized considering both launcher constraint and the spacecraft requirements, and enabled at the end to produce the flight software for the mission.
Well, thank you very much, Vincent, for all those explanations. Approximately 28 minutes ago, Ariane 5 lifted off from Europe Spaceport in a couple of minutes. It will complete its mission. Eutelsat satellite will then commence its own mission, and it's a mighty, ambitious one. Before talking about that, what news do you have from the fishbowl? We see them on the image. Everything is concentrated.
So everybody looking forward to a final announcement from the range operation director. We can see on the screen. So we are in the very last seconds before the spacecraft separation, and we wait for the the final announcement.
And it's probably one of the key points.
There we see Eva Bernecker, who is at the helm of Eutelsat. Yeah. We just saw her.
Séparation Eutelsat Konnect VHTS.
Wow. Yeah.
Excellent. Wonderful news.
We don't have much to explain when you see people clapping, when you hear this atmosphere. Vincent, can we say it finally happened and it's a success and now the team can relax? Can we say that?
Yes, so all the teams, as you can see, are very happy, so we can relax a little bit. So an important step for the spacecraft is achieved, but it's not fully finished. So on launcher side, the mission continues with the end-of-life maneuvers of the launcher upper stage. So with the objective to reduce the apogee of the orbit and then avoid any risk of collision with the spacecraft, of course.
Okay.
So we've seen on the screen in the fishbowl we saw Eva Bernecker, who is at the helm of Eutelsat. We saw Hervé Deray, who's head of Thales Arianespace. His teams obviously designed and built the satellite launch tonight.
Yeah.
As we know,
in a couple of minutes we will be
interviewing them. And this obviously is the culmination of years of work for all teams involved in this project.
So now let's try to find Stéphane Israël, because it's always at this time. Normally we have a connection with Stéphane Israël, but if I were there, I would probably be shaking hands and
exactly
and enjoying the success
moment
of this mission. So while we are waiting for Stéphane, yes, you know this place, Vincent, because you've been there. So those are the guests.
I'm sure.
And those are the people we will have in interview in a few seconds. And now we are waiting for Stéphane Israël. He will be with us within a few seconds. Oh, Stéphane, congratulations and welcome back.
Thank you. Thank you.
So it's a success. You can confirm now that it's a success. We can see the big smile on your face.
Yes, this is an additional success for Ariane 5 tonight. You know, it is the 114th Ariane 5 we have delivered tonight, and we are very happy of this success for our dear customer and partner Eutelsat, with a satellite, outstanding satellite from Thales Alenia And I really want to thank all the teams who have made this success possible. Arianespace for sure, our prime contractor and first shareholder, Ariane Group, and all the European team with CNES, ESA, and the industrial team. This is their success, and they can be very proud of what they have achieved tonight.
Yes, I'm sure that's a global success, and everybody should be proud. Let me ask you one question. What's next?
So what's next now? So our next launch will be on board of a Vega, and it will be for Airbus with a 2-Pléiades Neo. It will be the second Vega C, and after the maiden flight, the first Arianespace is going to operate. It will be 21 of November, and later in December month, we are going to deliver for 2 good old friends of Arianespace as well, EUMETSAT and Intelsat, and it will be the last Ariane 5 of the year in December.
Well, thank you very much, Stéphane. Thank you, and congratulations to all the teams in Kourou. And for those who are watching tonight, be there for the Vega launching, because it's always different images than from Ariane 5. It's always really spectacular. Thank you very much, Stéphane.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, and stay with us, because now we don't go away, because we are going to pass the microphone over to Grégory Gavrois of Arianespace. He will be there with us. And he will have the pleasure, thank you very much, Stéphane. He will have the pleasure of interviewing the guests.
Eva
Bernecker, CEO of Eutelsat, and Hervé Deray, CEO of Thales Alenia. But before, this is all the images we want to watch. Let's watch
again
the replay
and
of this liftoff that was incredible. And even for you, Vincent, it was a nice one.
Yes, you're right. So it's
booster ignition and liftoff of Discovery, celebrating its 25th birthday by racking up science and supplies to the space station.